Okay, so today I'm going to continue talking about the weak verbs. I've already talked about week one verbs. They have yan, and they have the meaning of making someone something or something like that. Um, so we have mikilya for this verb mikilyan means to make great, or I don't know how you would say that in English. Since like great and isn't a word, but whatever. So Mikalia, I make great. Mikalis, you make great. Mikalis, Mikalis, uh, is he, she, or they make great. Mikaliam, we make great. Mikalis is you plural. Mikalis, um, it's the same as third singular. Mikalis, Mikalis. So you just have to base that on context. And finally, for the present tense, we have Mikelyand, which means they make great, they plural in this case. And then we have the past tense, which we have Mikelida, which means I made great. Mikelides, you singular made great. Mikelida is the same as the first singular, so another place where you need to depend on context. So it can be he, she, they made great, but also I made great. So remember the plural forms. Get this ideidum, ideiduth, ideidun, as opposed to the singular, which just have ida, ideish, ida. For the, as you can see, it's pretty similar. The past and present in terms of like the final consonant. The only difference here is that we have an and instead of there's no d at the end in the past tense, but otherwise they're the same. So then we can compare that to the week two verbs. The week two verbs, they're a bit less straightforward. They mean something like to be a priest. So we have echtro, echtros, echtros, echtro, echtros, echtrond, where it has this o, like in German, das Brot. And I don't know if I'm doing like the stress and everything correctly. The stress should be on the first syllable in most Gothic words, unless they have a prefix added onto them. Then you can have like I think that only applies to verbs though. Anyways, the past tense just has this o as opposed to this which had I. Otherwise, it's the same. So the week two are actually a lot simpler because they always just have the o. And then we have the week three. Now, the thing about the week three is they might look like a regular, like you might think it's a strong verb, but the difference, which isn't written in Gothic, is that the A is long according to the etymology. So it's believed that it was long in Proto-Germanic, so it was probably long in Gothic too, though like I said, that isn't written. So we have Havan, 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 which means to have. So we have Hava, Havis, Havis, Havam, Havis, Havand, Haveda, Havedis, Haveda, and remember we have this Idedum, this vedo in the plural forms of the past tense. So, you can see they're all very similar to each other. The declensions are all basically the same. It's just the vowel and, this, whether there's this consonant there or here, that changes. So the weak 4 verbs are also, they're very similar to the other ones, but as you can see, instead of this Y, like this Y sound, but it's usually romanized with a J. This Y sound, instead of that we have an N sound, and in the places where we have Is or Yes, we just have Nes. Nith, Nam, Nith, Nand, No, the. So it has the O like the weak 2 verbs, and it has the meaning something like to become. So that's it's not exactly consistent what each suffix means. They're all verb forming suffixes, and I maybe half the time it's actually what you would expect it to be, but for that half of the time, or maybe more or less, I don't know. I haven't counted. I'll tell you what, as a rule of thumb, what these endings usually mean. So, for example, we have Odach, which means blessed, and then Odagyan, which means to bless someone or something. I kind of mixed it up whether I said someone or something, but just assume that you can use it for people and things. Bergs, it's a bit hard to say. Means clear or open to see for everyone. And then Bergjan means to show. Gevegs means rich. Gevegan, to enrich. Blins, blind. Blinjan, to make someone blind. Gemens, vulgar. Gemenjan, to defile. Quils, alive. Quiljan, to quicken. We don't really have a word for make someone alive, but quicken is the archaic word for it that isn't really used anymore. Hardus, hard. Hardjan, to make hard. Swinths, strong. Swintjan, to strengthen. Brinnan, which means to burn, and then Branjan, which means to burn. But in this, so Brinnan is burn as in the house burned down, and Branyan is more the candle fell over and burns the house down. So Branyan is when you're burning something, and Brinnan is when you're the one burning, basically. Then we have these on, which I said sort of means to be, especially when you have the inon, but it's if I had to guess, it's the least consistent one. So Gudya, a priest. Gudyanon, to be a priest. Reidach, to be hungry. What Reidach means hungry. Reidon means be hungry. Hatis is hate. Hatizon is to hate. Theodant is a king. Theodanon is to reign. Lustos is lust. Luston is to lust after or be lustful. Ragin is advice, and raginon is to give someone advice or to advise them. Ferina is blame. Ferinon is to blame someone. Troya is a lord or ruler. Hrólfur is to rule or be a lord. Hdrocht is a warrior. Drochtinun is to make war. Then we have Ashton. I'll do what I did before and read these first. Est is reverence. Ashton, revere. Arms, mercy. Arman, to spare. Hatis, hate. Hatan, to hate. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same. There is a lot of overlap with these, and we have like weird things like this, like leaks, which is a suffix, and then we have likan, which means to liken. Liura is marriage. Liuran, to marry. Sorga to is grief. Sorgan, to grieve. The general rule for these week 3 is that it's like giving someone something. But like I said, it's not too consistent. So like giving someone shame is to shame them. Skama, skaman. Skaman, I should say, because it's a long A. Swears, honor. Swearan, to like honor someone. Swearan. Tregus is trust or well, loyalty. Troan is to trust. Blinds, as you can see, blinds is also over here, but there it meant make someone blind. But the class 4 weak tend to mean to become. So become blind. Govignan, to become rich. Health, healthy. Heldan, to heal, like the wound healed. Not like if you're saying someone healed someone else, then you would use the verb helion, which is a weak one verb. Lukan is a verb meaning to close. Luknan is to become closed. Skethan is to separate. Skethnan, to become separated. Means less. Minstan, become less. Gyotan, to pour. Gutnan, to become poured. Mer is fame or like famous. Mernan is to become famous or well known or just become known or whatever. I'm not sure how it's used exactly. Weeks, holy. Weechnan, to become holy. So I hope that serves as a good basically just the main thing I want to teach you here is just what each of the different week verbs mean, like what the difference between week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. I didn't cover all of the declensions, like for example, there's a dual form, there is a optative and a subjunctive and a passive, but here I'm just putting the indicative forms, the indicative present and past, and that's it. But if you want to look up what those forms are, you can look them up on Wiktionary if you want.